All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having yourselves a fantastic start to the AM here. Happy Friday. Sorry, Friday, what was I saying? Happy Wednesday. Jeez, my head's in the gutter. But yeah, hope you're having yourselves a great week here so far. But a little bit of a say like improvements here this trading week. I've been pretty happy. Yesterday I was pretty happy with how the day went. And just like trading with that element of control, right? I think makes a big difference. Waiting for things to be perfect, right? Makes a big difference. Not having to be emotionally attached to a single position, right? Makes a big difference. So, you know, there's kind of like a emphasis or desire, right? To keep basically focusing on the things that are working instead of like chasing things or hoping for validation or whatever it might be, right? In general, this has been a market that has been still a little bit like data reactionary and data heavy. And you know, as long as that continues to be the case, yeah, it's worth kind of just being patient and cautious, right? And letting price action basically get smooth before we really force anything, right? So, yeah, more of the same, I think here. You know, yesterday was a smooth day. I want more of the same. If I can have those types of days, right, then it's such a calmer way to live, right? Such a calmer way to trade. And hopefully, right, we can take advantage of that a little bit here and, you know, set ourselves up for some more consistency. Now, the run of form that we're on in the last little bit, right, been pretty strong. I think it's like 6 green days in a row here, something like that. So let's push it to 10, right? Let's try to get there. But hopefully, right, we can keep kind of stacking them up, keep building up some momentum, and then, yeah, keep kind of going. Now, yesterday was kind of like a soft test of that start trading at 10 a.m. type thing. We talked about that a little bit on Monday. Kind of executed a variant of that yesterday, right? Because we started the stream early, but then just waited the 30 minutes. So yeah, gonna kind of keep testing that a little bit or like tracking that a little bit. Just seeing, you know, basically how the win rate changes post 10 a.m. And see if that makes like a difference significantly. And if that creates scenarios, right, where it's easier for my first trade of the day to be green, that's something that I want to be happening more often. The variance that it was happening where my first trade of the day was red, yeah, made it relatively like challenging, right, to basically compound, right, or do anything along those lines. So curious to see, yeah, basically how we can keep that momentum going and then hopefully go from there. Yeah, with that being said, not too much else for me to yap on about here this morning. Let's see basically how the day shapes up, where the momentum is for us today, and then we can kind of go from there. So first things first, right, we've got economic calendar. So we got some PMI here at 9:45, then ISM. So again, right, another day where it should be easy. Should be easy, right, for us to be able to sit out that kind of initial price action. We then have crude oil inventories here at 10:30. So yeah, well, we have a relatively busier calendar. Yeah, guys, I was a little bit muted on Discord there. You didn't miss much. Basically just said was happy with yesterday's trading day. It was nice to wait to 10 a.m. to kind of get some clean price action, and looking to basically keep testing those changes and or not testing, tracking those changes and seeing, you know, if there's a significant difference. So, all right. Yeah, let's get after it here. Good morning, everybody. And let's have ourselves a heck of a trading day. So again, we've got data 9:45, 10, and 10:30 here today, right? ISM, PMI, I think it is, right? And then, yeah, ISM, and then crude oil inventory. So relatively busy, all things considered. But yeah, hopefully we can have ourselves a smooth trading day. So what's the count on ES? Let's start there, and let's start mapping things out. Yeah, 2 out of 3 to the upside without volume, spot on. All right, so flexibility in both directions here, still targeting a move towards that 6,000. So that's going to be our starting point here today. And then, I mean, 61.40 is probably too much. We go to like 60.80, right? I think that's, 100 points from where we're at right now. Certainly makes a little bit of sense. With it being a 2 out of 3 to the upside without volume, does that mean we have a bullish bias, a bearish bias, or do we have some flexibility here this morning? Yeah, we have flexibility to trade things both ways. I'm not quite sure what you mean by bear, Dan, but we do have a bearish bias or flexibility. We still have a bullish bias, right? Because it's more things than not are telling us strength, but we do have flexibility to trade this here to the downside. We're at 59.80 here pre-market, so 59.60, right? Kind of as our starting point. Cool. And then we have it mapped out from there. Okay, NQ, how do we feel? The rolls next Monday, following Monday. Okay. Yeah, NQ, similar, not so similar. How do we feel? Yeah, same thing. So 2 out of 3 here to the upside without volume. Hanging out at 705 here this morning. So starting point's going to be 21.8. Now, realistically, that should be taken care of by our indicator. And then 22. Like 22 or 13 is like all-time highs, give or take. We'll go 22.5 kind of as our to the downside, right? We could look for 21.5 as our starting point, but same thing, right? Have some flexibility in both directions, and then we can kind of go from there. Okay, CL, what's happening here today with crude oil? Who knows? Yeah, it's inventories day, exactly. Generally not not something I trade, right? Tend to not trade CL on inventories day. So I'm going to stay away from this here, but it's an inside bar consolidation. Cool. And not much would be changing from yesterday anyway. But yeah, not super enthusiastic to trade this with that big data drop. Okay, Apple, 2 out of 3 to the upside with volume. Kind of interesting. Opening up in the implied middle of yesterday's range, just above 200. So maybe setting up as an inside bar or a day of consolidation. Tesla with a what looks like to be a rejection, short-term rejection, right? Basically, potentially giving us another like flag type setup. So if I were to drag this out here, again, kind of just another potential flag. So you need a breakdown under 333 or above 355 in the short term here today. It's a 2 out of 3 to the downside with volume. Okay, Microsoft, green candle, decreasing volume, and then a 2-cent gap up. I'll call this a 1.5 out of 3 without volume. Okay, Amazon, red candle, increasing, but not outlier volume, and then gap up. And although it is an increasing volume standard, if I'm looking at the context, right, of the volume, we'll say even for the last 2 weeks or so, this is not like an intimidating volume standard, right? It's well within sort of the reasonable range of small or low volume, right, that we've seen across the board pretty much in the last couple of weeks. So it is technically with volume, but it's not an outlier and it's not anything to get stuck on. This would still give me flexibility to call this two-way tape. Okay, AMD, a 3 for 3 here to the upside. Not a huge gap up again, but 30 cents is something. So yeah, 3 for 3 here to the upside. Again, not a huge volume base, a little bit better, but we haven't broken out really since that May 2-1, right, type standard. So we get back towards that outlier. Maybe this thing could get towards the 140s. It's got a lot of work to do until then. Okay. NVIDIA better, right? Probably the closest thing we've seen to outlier volume here so far today. And it's outlier volume post consolidation breakout, right? So it's an inside bar breakout on increasing outlier volume. Pretty positive. Has a chance now to basically get over its earnings highs. That's pretty interesting. If that can, maybe NVIDIA wakes kind of back up and goes into like catalyst mode again here, right? And then if that does occur, it's a great leading name for us to kind of focus on. A lot of the index is rebalanced to make NVIDIA a larger portion of their kind of like market weighting. And this was months ago now at this point, but if this is strong and we're seeing kind of Apple strong and Microsoft maybe showing us some strength, it really creates an environment where it's easy for us to start to get kind of squeeze type moves. Okay. Meta, pretty weak looking candle, decreasing volume, and then a gap up. So red, decreasing volume, gap up, right? So that's a 1 for 3 here to the downside. Keeping it, not destroying that 1, 2. So all things considered, right, this kind of just looks like a low vol pullback. It found support off of that cup and handle breakout spot, right? 664. So if we could bounce off of that area and continue pushing higher, you have that opportunity there for that continuation move. The annoying thing pretty much that we're seeing across the board here so far today is every name is telling us a slightly different story of indecision. Meta's kind of giving us that low vol pullback. NVIDIA is breaking out, but it's still getting, it's still under, right, an area with a very high kind of volume rejection. AMD, right, it's quote unquote breaking out, but the volume is far from enthusiastic. Amazon kind of looks like a rejection to the downside. Microsoft kind of looks like a volume divergence reversal. Tesla appears to be consolidating inside its pattern, or at least making a high volume multi-day doji. Apple, right, big move higher there yesterday, pretty big gap down here this morning. So everything that we're seeing, right, is telling us a different variant here. Netflix, right, high volume indecision, doji on increasing volume, generally not, again, right, a fantastic scenario. So maybe today's narrative that's kind of being sold to us here is already one of indecision or of potentially relatively choppy conditions. So yeah, I think I really need to be focused on avoiding basically choppy action early. That's where things are going to be maybe the most challenging. And I need to see these stories sync up and basically not get tunnel vision on NQ, hoping that things are going to kind of work themselves out. So need to be pretty patient here this morning, I think. There's a lot of opportunities, right, to basically get stuck in price action that might just ultimately not move. Okay, and then Google, 3 for 3 here to the downside. And close to outlier volume. So again, kind of like the opposite of NVIDIA. And now it's a 2 out of 3. And then the old Vixaruni, 17.66. So an implied daily range of about 1% here today. We're obviously not at that size move here yet. But that's sort of the implied volatility for us here today. So again, right, we have a story that's relatively inconsistent across our leading names. We've got crude oil inventories here at 10:30, and then we've got, we've got data here at 9:45 and 10 a.m. So expecting it to be kind of a slower start to the day. What I'm going to be doing from a personal perspective here is I'm going to be keeping my laptop closed, right, or my execution screen closed here, basically until that data gets out of the way, and just be basically monitoring price action for the first, say, 30 minutes of the session, see how things settle in, see if we can get a consistent story on our leading names, kind of anticipate, right, that narrative kind of syncing up and hopefully coming together. If not, then we can kind of see it, maybe if a range is established on the market, and look to play kind of range bound type condition trades, or we can kind of just sit on hands and enjoy our company. Obviously, the objective here is to get some action and have myself a nice green trading day, but I'd rather avoid conditions where I'm likely to be red and sit on hands than I am to force trades. Now, that doesn't mean, right, that I expect myself to be red here today. It's not the reality. I think that there's plenty of opportunities to be green. I think there's going to be a pretty interesting session. But I think it's just going to be easy to get chopped out early. And so I want to see this market establish its personality here today. And then only once I have confidence that I know, basically it's like little quirks, then I'll be willing to place a trade. So I want to start to have a little bit of patience, be a little bit deliberate, right, in how I'm watching the market, and then just waiting for things to sync up and hopefully create an element of consistency that we can take advantage of. The other thing that is, I'm noticing it with Tradeify, is I seem to be getting stopped out a little bit early on some of my trades, on some of them like 2 points, 3 points earlier than I anticipate. And that's a little bit of a frustrating place to be, right? Like my second trade of the day there yesterday ended up being a loss where I wouldn't have been stopped out. And I kind of got what I'm calling like a phantom stop loss. Seen that happen a few times here now in the last, we'll say 7 days or so, trading with these accounts. And so just want to be a little bit cautious of that. If that ends up being the case, then I'm probably going to look to decrease my position sizing and increase my buffer around my stop loss location. But we'll kind of break that down. So that's just starting to become a pattern that I'm starting to notice. And yeah, for whatever reason, it just doesn't quite feel like it's executing at the price that it should or when it should. And so I just want to make sure that I'm not basically getting shaken out of trades that are close, but still alive. So again, we'll kind of deal with that here as the trading days coming together and be kind of aware of that. I'm generally not a big believer in mental stop losses, so would need to find, basically like a buffer price to add on top of my hard stop loss. Something I've done in the past. I made a video about that. I've been rounding down generally to the nearest round number here when I'm placing my stop losses. So like, for example, right now, NQ is 21,716.75, right? I would just do 21,716, right, on the dot. That 3/4 of a point spread maybe isn't enough to basically avoid those little shakeouts. Maybe I need to make that a little bit larger. 1 to 3 points maybe would be my guess, with probably like 2 to 3 as being kind of the starting point. So I'll let you guys know if I do that. But yeah, that's something that I'm thinking about here a little bit in the background because yeah, that's now like 3 or 4 trades in the last 10 days where I've been stopped out when I don't think I should have, or I don't see a print of that price. And that's a little bit of a frustrating, yeah, frustrating execution, right? To be on the receiving end of. How's everyone feeling this morning? How's everyone feeling? Good. Yeah, feeling sharp. No complaints. Yeah, not as good. Not a sleep score of 99 here today. I got into the 87s last night, but still feeling good. Um, yeah, I'm tracking my sleep score on my watch, AJ, sorry. So trying to optimize that because I feel so much better when I get a good night's sleep. But I hit the sauna a little bit too late last night, I think, and I was yeah, just kind of like a little bit wired after that. But yeah, all good. I had a really big run yesterday. Did a tremendous amount of elevation gain and like bumped into a couple bears. Um, like a couple little bear cubs, and they were so freaking adorable. But it has made me realize that I'm probably a little bit too quiet on the trail. I need to get some like bear bells or something like that because I don't want to sneak up on one when they're hungry. That would not be very fun. But yeah, good times. And Dan, no reason to be unsure and edgy. Just practice, man. Right? Yeah, I was thinking about that a little bit last night as I was falling asleep. It's like if it's a big bear day here, it might have been an omen. Yeah, I've got like a bear horn that I run with. But yeah, I probably do need like some of the sprays or something. Yeah, Dan, just practice, right? You know, your objective for the first little bit is paper trade, learn the strategy, right? Learn your confidence there. No need to be anxious here. All right, guys. Anything else? Any other questions here this morning? It's just about coffee time here. All right, sweet. So I'm just gonna go make myself a quick cup of coffee. Spend a few minutes here getting those bear cubs out of my head, and yeah, then let's see kind of how markets shape up or how they behave here today, and hopefully we can kind of find ourselves some nice action, keep this little streak going, and yeah, set ourselves up for what should continue to be a strong week. So we back at it again in a couple of minutes, and I'll talk to you all then. All right. So, yeah, ready to go here. And yeah, let's kind of get after it. Ajay, are you asking about Ricky or are you asking about Rusty the member? You asking about my dog or one of our members? Oh yeah, no, he's good. He's loving no, it's all good, mate. It's all good. He's loving mountain life. I mean, he's a dog that gets a lot of walks anyway, but there's something I don't know. There's just so much more variety here. I was saying this to probably my dad, but it's like I could do a different trail every single day for the rest of my life, like a new trail every single day, and there would still be like 20,000 that I hadn't explored by the time I die. So there's an unbelievable amount of options here, and every day is like pretty exciting and pretty fun for him. So that's been awesome. He's a pretty happy boy. All right, so let's see how markets want to open up here today, right? How enthusiastic basically the opening range is. How much are we waiting basically for just like that early morning print? Where does that enthusiasm show up, right? And then we can go from there. But again, right, going to be a little bit of a slower start to the morning here again today. We've got data at 9:45, then data at 10 a.m., and then crude oil inventories here at 10:30. Crude oil inventories shouldn't really impact us, or like shouldn't be the mover and shaker for us here today. But the other stuff, the PMI and things along those lines, should certainly create a little bit of caution from our perspective here today. Really, the main thing we want to see is a level of enthusiasm and then a consistency across the board. Basically, the vast majority of our leading names all kind of telling us like a different variant of catch your breaths or consolidation or kind of like maybe like a lack of enthusiasm. So we're wanting to see, yeah, basically capital return into those leading names to continue to push these indexes. And then hopefully for us to get a really consistent narrative here as we start getting closer towards the futures roll. So effectively, right, with the roll happening 16th, next week, say Friday and Monday, so the 13th and the 16th, they're going to be challenging days to establish basically trending price action. So if we're going to get things to sort of sync up here, it needs to start happening pretty quickly. Otherwise, we're effectively destined for chop for the next, I don't know, 10 days or so, right? We want to see consistent stories. We want to see consistent narratives. We want to see basically participants step back up and kind of dominate the terms of the market, right? Or like the phrase I like to use, like I want to be the one who knocks. We want to see our leading names be the one who knock here, right? And really start to control our thesis. We're kind of outside of that earnings season, right? We're starting to get past some of those narratives. If we're seeing the fear evaporate from the market, we would like to see basically capital rotate back into those big leading names and make those stories consistent for us. That's going to give us our easiest environment to basically have that trend of day summer type scenario. And really what I'd be hoping for, right? We've had if we look at markets on the monthly, we started January, right? Was it 957-ish? We're at 993. The close of January was 71. So it's been a lot of nothing here so far, right? All things considered, a lot of volatility and craziness to the downside, a lot of like really muted and slow price action there to the upside. And so, yeah, very curious to see basically where momentum, right, or where narratives want to continue to shape up here. And we're hoping, right, or cheering for consistency. The sooner we can get that, the sooner it is for us to kind of get back to those really smooth trading days. The other thing I was thinking about here a little bit, right, like yesterday, a very, what I think felt like a calm trading day, besides the phantom stop loss. Very calm trading day, and it was very calm because I didn't pyramid into anything, right? I didn't like get more aggressive. I didn't get pot committed to an idea. I didn't do anything along those lines. And it's not to say that I don't want to pyramid into positions. I do. I'm trying to find that balance on how I'm doing it. Probably last week I was too aggressive with it and wasn't executing it properly, or as effectively as I could have, right? And wasn't finding that balance the way that I wanted. Kiki, I think, I don't know if you're in here, but you mentioned this on the video I posted on Friday. How basically you'd like a standard operating procedure on when we should be pyramiding and things along those lines. And I'm trying to, basically like figure that out in my mind on how I can do that consistently but calmly. So what I've kind of found is I've effectively found like the two extremes of it, right? So I've had the extreme where I'm overusing it, like I was last week, being hyper aggressive, and then actually increasing my risk on drawdown. When it works out, obviously great, but when it doesn't, it can be catastrophic. And then the obviously other extreme has been just basically the amount of trades that I'm able to execute that on in the meantime, right? So like, last week I had more pyramid trades in that week alone than I pretty much had in the like preceding 3 months, right? Of not trying to be very active in doing it. So I think that the balance or the fine point there is somewhere in the middle. And the cheat code for that is going to be in basically managing that stop loss. So maybe it ends up being something where I start to use the trailing stop loss function inside TradingView or inside various execution platforms. I think there's a lot of ways to be able to manage risk from that context. And that might be something to build off of. So I just want to say I did see your comment. I'm trying to basically figure that perfect way to do it in my head. Right now I have only the extremes kind of locked up. So I'll do my best to kind of get that all squared away here. Because I do like using it a lot. I think it's an incredibly powerful tool. I think it makes my strategy more effective and more profitable. But if it's costing me all my mental capital to execute, then probably isn't there. So need to find a way to make my plans better around how I'm managing them. And then once I kind of find something that feels a little bit comfortable, then I can kind of go back and back test that and then create that standard operating procedure. So just bear with me. That's sort of like my project here for the next couple weeks is really what I want to focus on, because getting those big P&L explosion days, it's like the best feeling in the world. So if we can continue to basically find more of those opportunities, but maintain like an element of calm around them, that's a great addition to the edge. So really the focus. Short term, right? We're just kind of still waiting and being calm and patient, right? Until we see at least that 9:45 data, right? And then that 10 a.m. We're seeing pretty smooth breakouts here so far, but not necessarily a tremendous amount of volume. And then clearly led by NQ. So NQ kind of like one candle ahead of ES here so far this morning. And then most of our leading names, right, is still kind of all over the place. One candle up, one candle down. They more look like ES. NQ looks more like Meta. So we got to be a little bit patient here. Basically see how these nerves are going to sync up, but worth being cautious. And we have seen a little bit of like a pretty consistent story here of like that first breakout candle, right? First breakout candle on volume kind of failing, right? To a certain extent. So like here, 10 a.m. kind of failed, found support inside the range, and then goes here, right? Third candle of the day, big breakout volume, right? And then fails. Whereas like the first big volume breakout here, I mean, I don't know if that really counts. Here, right? First breakout volume actually ends up working out pretty well. But yeah, I want to be just a little bit patient here. I don't think that there's any reason for us to be hyper aggressive yet. Again, if it doesn't fail, then that's also probably telling us a little bit of a story of, hey, we actually might get like a nice kind of like stealth rotation day. And this is why we avoid CL on inventories day, right? You get just a bunch of algo fuckery. That's a crazy candle. But yeah, impressive breakout here. Good volume. Question is now, does this give us a pullback? That's the pattern we've seen here recently. Right, third candle are most likely to be increasing volume candle, right, relative to our other indexes, or relative to the indexes. But we've also seen then that fourth candle, right, post breakout basically be a failure. This one appears to be behaving a little bit differently. Let's see. Maybe not. Just flirting around 6,000 here too. Opening range pretty small here today. That's such a crazy candle on CL. Such a crazy candle. So yeah, all right. Pretty much market's behaving the same way it always has. We're kind of getting, you know, this variant, right? We're kind of getting this variant here. So let's see. All right. Kind of seems like Apple's the leading name here, right? Today, so far. And Meta. Meta for sure is our little sociopath in disguise. All right. I mean, that would have faked us out on the first candle there, but maybe now this is starting to set up for a little bit of a move. Can't call that a fake out. Kind of just looks like a low vol pullback, all things considered. It's a tight stop loss too. What's the time? I got 3 minutes till market data, so there's not enough time to execute this. But this would be the setup. You'd be looking like something along these lines, right on the cusp of being tradable. I will obviously wait. It's too close to the data. Don't want the risk. Told myself, right, I'm going to wait for all that data to clear anyway. Again, that would have been a loss. So forcing myself to slow down, right? Being the tortoise, not the hare. That's going to be my winning formula. And it's trading is weird in that context because it's easy to say that, right? And then you jump in a trade and you make $500 in 30 seconds. And all of a sudden now your perception of how time is related to money is like super skewed. So we have to, yeah, force ourselves to remain grounded, right? And like delay that gratification as much as possible. Easier said than done. Yeah, it like it's tough of any because it constantly just highlights for you the things that you suck at. Like the market will find um yeah, basically the thing that you're most self-conscious about and exploit it until you fix it. Like for me right now, it's exploiting my greed, right? And when I say it, I'm not saying market makers, I'm not saying all this kind of stuff. I'm saying like my reaction, right, is my greed is like the one thing that's at the forefront. And so it's gonna keep hurting me, right, until I find a way to fix it. Now, obviously, that's like a constant cycle. You know, sometimes you're gonna be greedy, sometimes you're gonna be scared, sometimes you're gonna be anxious, fearful, whatever it might be. But you go through these cycles, and it's easy to get greedy in choppy markets, I think, and it's easy to get kind of like fearful in trending markets. And no interest here, not yet at least. There's that 945 data, nothing too crazy from a reactions perspective. Where's my volume? No volume increasing standard there on ES. CL is in full lunatic modes. So yeah, for now, just being chill here. No rush. 15 minutes till the next market data drops. Excuse me. All right. Fair. All right. Crazy moves. So I use limit orders and I set stop orders, right? Hey, good morning, Kayla. Yeah, so far no rush here still, right? We still got a bit of time till market data. I don't do anything stupid. And yeah, we've really not missed on anything here yet. Pretty slow and chill. Kind of looks like an 800 rejection on NQ, right? And a 6,000 rejection on ES. Let's see if that plays out. Yeah, so far so chill. It's an interesting close. And Apple still being in squeeze mode. Everything else, though, not quite as strong. Yeah, it's really Apple being the sociopath today. Pretty impressive rip higher. Oh, morning kind of feels like it's creeping by like molasses. And absolutely not missed anything here, right? I think we need to be objective about that. Not missed any trades, or any of the trades we would have taken, probably would have lost money on here so far. How much do you have left? Okay. But don't force it, right? So if the market gives you a setup here today, great, trade it. If it doesn't, no worries. You're one good decision away from passing. Don't need to put yourself any extra pressure besides that. All right, just a couple more minutes here. I might not ever financially recover from not bottom ticking CL here. Jeez. Like $800 a contract. Crazy moving in 10 minutes. Yeah, I know. It's one of those things you kind of just have to like, I don't know, build up a little bit of tolerance to like a little bit of chaos. Like this idea is still technically valid. I just recommend I would expect that, 10 a.m. has a good chance for like that high potential of a fake out, right? regardless of which direction. Like just the algo whipsaw that might show up, it just sets you up for a bounce, fake out, whatever you want to call it. Oh, so it's just like on headlines, right? There are algorithms that banks use and hedge funds use and things along those lines, that they'll adjust their position sizing, right, using automated orders. So exactly like you just saw there now, right? How price action just dumped 50 points in 5 seconds, right? We just want to make sure that we're not caught on the wrong side of that, right? Once data drops. Because, let's say hypothetically, right, we had a stop loss here at 766. If you get a move that happens that fast, you're not getting a stop loss. You're not getting filled at 766. You'd get filled at like 75 or 86 or 96 or whatever the number might be. And so you just set yourself up to really get screwed over. Now, obviously, right, catching 50 points in 5 seconds is a great feeling and people will chase that. Just in my opinion, it's not one that's super sustainable. So let's see. I mean, that kind of starting to behave as if that's equal move lower and equal move higher. It's 28 points lower versus, 38 points higher. So not quite close, but not quite. Maybe more so here on ES. So 5.25 points higher, 4 points lower. Okay, so again, not quite there. And yeah, that's a pretty nasty fake out at this point. All right, it's time to start to log in and start to watch with a little bit more intention. One thing you guys did miss as I was muted here this morning is I called today Friday. So that might say where my head's at. But yeah, for now, I mean, this isn't a tradable candle for me. I mean, maybe it'll close really strong the last 5 seconds. Seems unlikely. So we're going to be very much passing on the burden of confirmation to a slightly longer time frame here. Oh, excuse me. So realistically with NQ, if I'm going to trade this on the 5 main here to the downside, I kind of want it closing under 700. All right, like that kind of area. I mean, Apple's still strong. Gosh. It's like money's rotating out of Tesla and AMD and Nvidia all into Apple and Meta and Google. Not even Google. It's really all just Apple. Maybe a bit of Microsoft. Oh. Okay, 30 seconds. Okay, 10 seconds. Looking strong. Okay, good close. Can't pull back too much more than this. It'd be a 705 stop loss for now. Okay. And we could still use the pullback technique, but the pullback is a little bit less appealing because you need to get a pretty punchy pullback. So I would still prefer to use the aggressive here, right? And I'm going to go like 707 as my stop loss. Just give myself a little bit of extra spread here. Okay, so still watching. And we're looking kind of for a gentle pullback now, right? Into like that 88 handle. It'd be one contract play. Nice and gentle here. And again, if I don't get this on this time frame, I can play this on the 10, right? It should set up there as well. And the 10 min's going to have a different profit target, right? So we're going to have plenty of space on that. So no rush. This never really gave me that pullback right back into my entry zone, so I can't chase this. Now could, very much could. Same thing with ES. Okay. uh Okay, so 2 minutes to go here on this 10 min, but we're gonna have lots of space to the downside here, right? We'll go to like 570-ish, about 100 points. Oh my gosh, I can't. Just mean that we didn't get that 88 pullback. Just mean. Here we could maybe target a move towards, 21.5 would be our starting point. Maybe that's pretty aggressive. Big flush though. Kind of impressive. Apple's still holding up. What was it? 3 seconds here. Let's see how this closes. It's okay. Question is, where would you target? 600 maybe? What's the difference? 642 to 660. So you got 18 points as is. Can't really justify seeing too much of a pullback here. We're going to go 600. Then you're looking, yeah, 681. Probably want to be using reference points. Same thing, like 690-ish, right, as our stop loss. So then you're risking about 15 points. I am watching here, team, on this pullback. Reference price, right? I'm looking for a move above 689. Stop loss would be, we'll go 705. And that's within striking distance. So let's see this reaction here now. Maybe a little bit too fast so far. Not trusting it yet. Still being patient, right? The way that price action is basically moving higher, it's too easy. So that's a little bit of a shakeout, truth be told. But you know what? I didn't take the trade. Happy to have done that. Now I can possibly look for a pullback here, right, on ES. And you'd be looking at a 720, 725 or better pretty much here. So pretty decent little overreaction. Maybe you'd like to see it get rejected off of that like 734 type zone. That's an interesting back-to-back candle. Largest volume of the day to then bullish engulfing candle. Maybe that is telling us capitulation from bears. Interesting start. Okay. So again, we're back to looking here potentially now for this pullback, right, on the 10 min. Stop loss would be called 750, right? So if it's 750, I need an entry of at least 725 or greater. And it would be a one contract play or a one unit play. Short, right? We're looking short. So I do want to be a little bit cautious here though, right? As I watch this. So the second it touches 725, I won't be looking for an entry. Basically going to take the information, right, that we've gotten from the previous setup that we were looking at on the 3 min about how it got into our entry zone and basically gobbled up all the volume there and then made a higher high before then kind of pulling back. Basically, we want to see that reaction not happen at 726. So although I have everything set up at that price, I'm not going to be clicking submit right at that exact moment. I'm going to be slowing down, right? Buying myself time to see that reaction. And then if it's appropriate, right, or it looks different than the one that we saw in that 3 min time frame, then I can decide to take that risk. That makes sense? So still just being very patient here. And if I don't get a trade today, not a big deal, right? If I can walk away 0-0, that's a good day. Again, right? I want to see this reaction inside that zone. I don't want to see it basically get gobbled up, right? Like we've seen on all of our early setups. So because, right, we've seen multiple fake outs here happen now, right? One to the upside and one to the downside. We want to be buying ourselves time to make that decision. Right, so we're getting close. Let's see if this wants to now give us that kind of appropriate reaction. And what I'm watching here, right, is price action moving faster lower, or is it moving faster higher? Faster higher, right, would be a bad sign. Faster lower, a better sign. So I'm looking at the numbers, right, and seeing how big are the jumps between them. Like that was a good sized jump there from 28 to 21 to then 17. Right, that's what you would probably view as a more strong reaction. Again, let's see. All right, it's going to maybe give us another chance here. And this time I'm properly watching, right? If I can basically replicate that same reaction we just got, that's going to be my opportunity. And don't worry, right? If you missed your entry, if the trade is strong, it'll give us more than one chance. This is setting up as an inside bar, right? Well, it's trading is just always a game of supply and demand, right? So when one direction is moving faster than the other, you know that that's the side that's in control, right? Or the ones that are executing with more enthusiasm, right? Or controlling more of the volume. Let's go, Mike. Not sure if I understand 38 as a stop loss, besides it just being like a financial pain point. Okay, fair. Okay, well, I'm still watching here on this 10-min. I have a possible chance here for basically like that little inside bar fake out type scenario. Again, watching here closely. And no rush, right? No rush. If you find yourself feeling anxious here right now, or you're finding yourself stressed out, or you're finding yourself as if you're getting FOMO on this position, right? Size down or avoid it. Be proactive, not reactive, right? Listen to the signs your psychology is telling you. Write them down and then try to find solutions for that. Very likely, right? If you're anxious about a trade, then there's something in your trading plan that you're missing. And it's making you feel, yeah, uptight or whatever it might be. So listen, right? Listen to your signals. Be selfish there. If you're stressed out about a trade, it's very likely that your position sizing is too large. So don't be that individual. All right, so we can get a little inside bar fake out type scenario here. Okay, watching closely. Okay, still watching. Okay. So I'm in, guys. I am in 732, 732. Stop loss at 748. And so far, so good. Up 20 ticks right away. And I have 2 contracts. Sorry, 747. And I will be a little bit honest, upon entry here, feeling a little bit anxious. So let's see if this thing can really start to separate and break down. But you know what, guys? That was a near perfect entry. I think we should be very proud of that. Now, this reaction, maybe I'm less stoked about here. So let's see if it can break down. So far, so good here, team. So far, so good. We're wanting to see it break down here under 700, right? That's going to be our next reference price here, really. So let's see if it can flush. Yeah, really good trade here so far. So now we're watching, right, 700. Can we push down through this area? I don't like those little bounces. They feel like they're happening maybe a little bit too fast. Okay, so still watching here, still watching. Just trying to listen, right, to the price action, right? What is it telling me? Do I have any reasons to panic? Not yet. So far, so good here. We want to see that breakdown through 700. That's going to be the key. It kind of seems like we're getting a little bit of like a multi-tiered defense of that price. It feels a little bit as if the bounce is more enthusiastic than the drop at the moment. Yes, this I don't like. Doesn't feel strong. Better. Come on. Die, 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 die. Hmm. 16 points isn't bad. Hate this reaction now. Come on, get back under. No, my setup here was on the 10-minute chart. I'm going to stick to the 10-minute chart. It's not a fair ask. Tough shit, man. Tough shit. That's a you problem, not a me problem. It's kind of a frustrating trade now. It's gotta die. Gotta die. In the Start Here channel, it says very specifically use TradingView for charting. It is to help you avoid that issue. So if you're not going to use the resources in the way that you're described, don't ask me, please, to adapt to your style just because it's convenient for you. Go through the resources, please. Don't ask me to bail you out because you don't want to do that work. Yeah, it's kind of been a worst case scenario pullback here. It's gotta die. Come on. Guys, can we just focus on one trade at a time here, please? We're not out of this position yet. Why are you guys looking for a breakout above another level right now? Focus. We're 6 points from entry price. Focus, guys. Like, Dan, it's setup, confirmation, execution for all your trades. So just throwing out a random number, dude, makes no sense. We've talked about this too much, right? It's setup, confirmation, execution. If you get a high volume breakout through 760, then yes, man, we can have that conversation. But guys, don't be front running this bullshit. It's annoying as heck. Yeah, and I have been stopped out of this trade. Feel a little bit unlucky there. Probably should have taken profit, didn't. Like, guys, our objective as traders, right, is to control the variables we can control. So if there's a limitation on your execution platform, find something else to do your analysis on, right? If price isn't at a random level, don't just pick a price target and jump in and hope you get lucky. Control the variables you can control. Have a consistent, repeatable process. Don't hope for someone to bail you out with just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. Right? We trade a system here. We trade a strategy. It's this. So nowhere in the graphic does a random number in the middle of the day's range give us a setup trigger, right? Where is that setup relative to this strategy? Where is it, right? It isn't there. So asking me to validate that random number is never going to happen, right? For one. Two, very specific inside the Discord, right, over what you need to set up to be able to trade with us on a daily basis. If we're going to ignore those criteria and then ask me to correct or change my style to suit yours, I'm also going to be very unsympathetic to that, and I'm going to give you negative feedback, right? I have put everything inside the Discord that gives you what you need to be able to trade my style. My style works for me. It is what has been successful for my trading career. I'm going to be pretty motivated basically in replicating that. If you don't want to do that, cool, no worries. Please then don't like poison the stream with asking people to adapt to you. Again, right? I'm not going to be very sympathetic to that. So please make it easy for me to be able to help you. I have given you all the information you need to be able to execute these same ideas and these same concepts. It's your responsibility to put in the work and set up your charts so that you can do the same thing. If I have to account for everyone's preferences and everyone's unique personality quirks, guys, I'm going to lose my freaking mind because I don't have the ability to do that. So we all have the opportunity to get the same setups and the same charts, and everything you need is available to you in the Start Here channel of the Discord. Please go through it. Please. Let's go, Rusty. Does everyone understand, right, how to set up your charts and to go through all those things? Does everyone know where to find those resources? Let's go, Rossi. That's great to hear, man. For those on YouTube, does everyone know where to find those resources? All right, so please use them. Please, guys, please. And if you can't execute on the 10-min time frame, right, for whatever reason, you can't see stuff or something doesn't make sense or whatever it is, I tell you what my price is. I tell you what my stop loss is. I tell you what my position sizing is. So you can fill in all that information without needing to be on the 10-min time frame. I'm giving you exactly what I'm doing, right? So it's not like the price on one time frame is going to be different than another, right? And it's not that price is going to be different in one prop firm versus the other. Futures is a centralized singular data feed. Right? So it's consistent across the board. As long as you have live market data, they're going to see the same price absolutely everywhere. So you have all the information you need to be able to execute these trades. If you don't have the information you need to be able to view them, that is a you problem. That is not a me problem. All right. Got to meet me halfway, guys. Got to meet me halfway. If we're asking for trades that don't follow the strategy, right, or aren't referenced to the strategy, or we're bringing our previous one that wasn't profitable to here and then looking for validation of that, why are you here, right? Your job is to try to learn the technique, learn the strategy, learn the style that we trade. What you signed up for, right? So if that's the objective, use the resources available to you to beef up that information so you can execute those ideas. And don't just like throw random stuff at a wall and see if that's it, right? Be deliberate with how you're trying to improve. Don't just be a generalist. This game is far too competitive for us to half-ass us getting better, right? There are far too many other people who are wildly intelligent, crazy smart, who are also playing this game. If we're going to half-ass our effort and compete with them, don't stand a chance. So being deliberate, being specific, right? That's going to help you improve. That's going to help you sustain performance. That's going to help you elevate your game. Without those things, you're not going to make it. Hate to say it to you. You're not going to make it. There is zero room for ambiguity in your trading and your desire to want to get better. And everyone here wants to get better. Everyone says that they want to get better. 10% of people make their actions match their words. Everyone else just wants a little bit of validation and vindication that they're doing busy work to look as if they're getting better. So choose which side you want to be on and go all in. Like I say this to every single member who joins when we have a conversation. Spend your first week, right, putting together a list of questions. Send me those questions. I'll answer them to you in as much detail as I can, right? And then once I say that, I tell everyone, send me your trades so that I can give you feedback on them, tell you what you're doing well, compare against what I'm doing, and then going from there. Of the 1,000 people that we have in the Discord, do you know how many people send me their trades on a daily basis? One person, right? One person does that, and I tell everyone to do that. I've had 5 people out of that same bunch send me their list of questions at the end of the week. Well, I know who's going to make it. I know who's going to be successful. I know who's going to do well. Very clear. Super obvious. Well, decide who you want to be, right? It's hard to tell you, hey, this is what you need to do to get better. Give you every opportunity to do that, and then you don't do it, and then wonder why things aren't going as well as you want. Look, I know I've been ranting and raving. This is something I'm extremely passionate about. You want to be a good trader, you need to control the variables you can control. I think I make those variables very clear to everyone who joins the program and joins the team. And the base expectation is that you, at the very least, do those basics. I'm not here to fish for you, right? I'm here to teach you. I'm here to show you. Okay, so can we get that leg of the breakdown that shook us out here potentially? Let's go, Mike. Congratulations. Should put you back nicely green here on the day. So not going to be enough volume there. Yeah, but getting the direction right and timing wrong still means that you're wrong, right? So who cares? And it's not like I caught the big chunk of the move, right? Like the part that I was up was minimal. I mean, this is telling me bounce scenario, right? It's basically find support off of 700, all wicks underneath, target high a day. So it'd have to look something like this. It'd be like a 720 stop loss. All right, here's your setup. Failed breakdown, right? Now breaking up, or breaking out, sorry. Like I said, stop loss 720. Okay, and I'm in 734.25, 2 contracts. No, this is your confirmation here, 1039. This is your confirmation, 1039. So here's your confirmation candle, right? Failed breakdown, bounce off of 700 on volume. Next candle there is an inside bar, right? Neither invalidating it. Then you get a fake out lower, right? And then it made that breakout higher high. I did get stopped out of that at 720. Maybe this will give me another attempt. Maybe just stop loss needs to be the low of that range, 704. Higher high, higher low. Okay, guys, so I'm back in 715.75, stop loss at 704. So let's see if it can break out here. Those little pullbacks always make me so nervous. I don't like them. Gotta go, gotta go. Come on. Beautiful. Now we want to see it get over 730, right? And ideally give me an increasing volume standard. This thing is rocking and rolling here, team. Really good shape. Hold 730 here, right? Hold 730. Okay, right, and there's $600. Let's see if we got a bit more juice left. Okay, I've just pyramided into a fourth contract here. Average price 719.25, and stop loss here is 725, and it's a hard stop loss. Clear? Yeah. Volume, candle shape, and hold higher highs. So we'd be looking to judge that here on this upcoming candle. On the previous one, we wanted to see it basically break out and hold through 730, right? Okay. So that's 1500. Right, nicely green here on the day. And let's see if this thing can continue to explode through 740, right? And then we keep kind of building out. How's everyone feeling? That's 17. Got to keep going here. So this candle, right? We want it to see it hold above this 740, strong candle shape, and ideally on increasing volume. We get 2 out of 3 things, we'll be good. Otherwise, look to get out. So far it's behaving well. Yeah, so far it's behaving well. But we've seen how quickly this market can change its personality. Oh, I'm not going to be too aggressive here. Again, I was happy to pyramid into this position, but, right, I have a hard stop loss here. I have a hard stop loss. So I'm making it easy on myself to protect myself here. And I'm kind of debating closing at this point. It's $1,900, almost 2K. All right, so we can get one more pop. Just crappy enough. So I'm going to look to close as my P&L is increasing here. So I am out, guys. I am all out. 741 exit price. 741 exit price. Yeah, hold above the wick. Correct. All out 741. Great win. Really good. So now nicely green on the day here. And see this time, right? Traded on the 3-min time frame. So I just stayed on the 3-min time frame, right? If my signal is on one time frame, I'm going to stick to that. I'm going to ignore everything else. Right? And if it keeps running, no big deal. It didn't follow my rules, right? So I kind of did. It gave me 2 out of 3. Maybe I could have held on. But you know what? I don't want to give this away. I've been a little bit agitated here this morning, so I don't want to exaggerate that feeling. But look, green is green, guys. Green is green. I'll take it all day long. Clearly left some money on the table, too much. That's fine. Yeah, there's no point doing anything more aggressive, right? $1,000 on the day is great work. Nice work, Ajay. And look, team, I know I can be a grumpy bastard sometimes. I get that. That's something I'm working on. But I'm grumpy because I'm very invested in you guys being successful and doing well. I take a lot of pride in it. I get a lot of validation from it when you do. And I've worked with enough traders at this point where I know what makes traders successful and I know what the opposite of that is. And when I see people doing the opposite, when you've been told to do otherwise, it does drive me a little bit crazy. I ultimately understand that it's your choice over what you get out of this. But I will always hold you to what I think is the DTR standard, even if it isn't always pretty. Like the reality, right, is a big part of why I chose to work for myself is because I didn't want to tolerate any bullshit. Yeah, it's over the high, right? Whatever the high or the low is. Yeah, my pyramid fill price was, I think, Let's see where it is. Sorry. Where's this? Today's the 4th. Okay, there we go. 7:30. 7:30. So is this 3-min reversal, right? So we have that reversal off of the low of the day, right? So a big bounce off of the 2R range. And then price action breaks out, consolidates, gives us a high volume reversal candle. It faked out a couple times at that area. But now when we're looking at price action here, right? If I'm looking at what happens inside this box, right? Inside this green box, it's all dip buyers, right? So we got reversal off the lows, fine support there, dipped buying, was basically looking to jump in on that dip buy. I got shaken out of my first attempt to do it, got kind of stopped out. Maybe I could have waited for a deeper pullback, but the second trade was fine. So it's that reversal thesis, right? Low vol, fake it, fake out, bearish failure. And then you wait for your bullish confirmation that looks like candle 1, 2, or 3 on increasing outlier volume. So the bounce off of these lows, right, was your setup. It moving back, right, above those lines, continues to be your setup. Where's your first candle where you get that increasing outlier volume? Well, it's this one here. Right, it's this one here. That's reasonably strong. So then that becomes your confirmation, right? That bulls are back in control post reversal. I think got a little bit unlucky with that first trade, but second trade was fine. And yeah, maybe I shouldn't have closed where I did. I didn't have any reason to close on that previous trade at the price I closed at. But this might give me an opportunity here to trade this again now. Same thing, right? High vol breakout away from the opening range. A high vol breakout setup, right? Your confirmation is a strong candle shape on increasing outlier volume. So our confirmation is the same for every single setup, right? We wait for a high vol breakout away from the lows, right? Or above from the highs if we're bullish. So now we'd be looking at something like this, right? Would have to be the aggressive technique because we've already made a higher high. So stop loss here for now would be 767. I'd probably round that down just a little bit. So I'd call it like 765 stop loss. Right, so pretty tight risk here. And I'm watching again, guys. I'm absolutely watching. I'm looking for that 772 to 770 area act as support. Everything underneath it, no interest. I need to see it act as support before I'm willing to click submit. Everyone understand? Better. I can go pretty big position sizing here, right? Because it's a really tight stop loss. Right? Still just wait, right? Still just wait. Just a low vol pullback for now. So stop loss have to be a little bit lower. That's going to change my position sizing a little bit. It's just a low vol pullback. No big deal. Okay. Guys, I am in 777.50. Stop loss low of my entry price, so 768. And let's see if this thing can pop. Kind of a chased entry, I would say, a little bit. Hopefully I don't get punished for that. I shouldn't say chase. I would say slippage on my entry is a better verb. And again, right, still that same thesis. I just got the aggressive entry technique, right? That's all it was. Here it goes. Let's watch. This is your chance. Didn't like how it got really aggressively rejected there at 80. Can't say I like that. Come on. Could have gone just a slightly better entry on this here today. That's fine. Come on. Good volume. What's the time here? It's probably the only thing that's working against me. Come on. Oof. That got close. Okay, if this doesn't get up and over here now, I'm getting out. Got to get through 80. Got to pop through 80. Come on. There it goes. And there it pulls back. Come on. Okay. Again, right? Watching for a strong candle shape, hold above higher highs, increasing volume. That's okay. Don't have enough space here to pyramid. I don't know if I like this setup enough to hold it for much longer anyway. It's kind of a tough one. Nice work, Mark. Congratulations. Can't tell if it's coiling to pop and to like run higher or if it's like running out of enthusiasm and momentum. Kind of fighting between those two. I think ultimately what has made this trade more difficult than I would like it to have been is my entry on this. Like I said, it felt slippy. Like I got kind of a bad execution. And I think that's made it a little bit challenging to feel relaxed about this position. Or that I'm like clearly right. It just keeps hanging out right at my entry price. Like my slippage fill was pretty much the reference point here. It does feel like it's coiling though. Oh, what a life. Just coiling, doesn't want to move. All right. Come on. Give me a little pop. Give me a little pop. And that was like the most frustrating little move. How many of those like little failed breakouts can one take here? Pseudo failed breakout because it hasn't made a higher high. Yeah, I'm watching here very closely, team. Watching very closely. I think I'm going to get out of this position in a second. Yeah, well, I got stopped out. Took the stop. Just couldn't find the exit 30 seconds earlier. It's a shame. Just the normal CME data. You please go through the Start Here channel in the Discord, man. You're driving me nuts with questions that are answered for you. Please go through the Start Here section of the Discord. All your questions will be answered there. Of course, now it breaks out, right? Classic. So, Rossavane, please go through the Start Here channel in the Discord. It will answer all your questions. It'll tell you what you need to do. It is called Start Here for a reason. Please. Nice work, AJ. Sounds good, Antonin. Enjoy the rest of your day. And price actually just stalled a little bit. Yeah, I kind of just hated my entry on that trade. That's what made it more difficult than it needed to have been. I got a CL mean reversion look here. Going to stay away from that. That's okay. Still a good day here, team. No big deal. Let's go, Kayla. Congratulations. Fantastic day. $1,400 is awesome. Well done. Dan, you need to start thinking more about your process versus the P&L, man, right? Start practicing the strategy, start going through the material, start doing all those sort of things, and the money will take care of itself. Right? Control the variables you can control, and then the P&L will take care of itself. Don't worry about that. You don't make money from like wanting it. You make money by trading well. So how can you trade better, right? Can't remember who mentioned it this morning, but there was someone who was like $2,000 away from passing their eval. I'm in a similar spot on my 9th account. I'm like $1,100 away. That makes you want to do dumb stuff. Yeah, honestly, like the reason why I'm saying it is so that I kind of like remind myself, don't be an idiot. Don't be an idiot, right? Like stack up your base hits, compound them. You're gonna make more money that way anyway. So like thinking here, oh, okay, let me just sit and watch for another 3 hours so I can make an extra $1,100 and be happy with my day. Well, that's kind of bullshit. Like pretty happy with how I've traded here in general today. A couple times where I probably should have taken profit where I didn't, but nothing catastrophic here today. Man, this is just a market that loves a little fake out before its move. Crazy. Yeah, you could even call this like a low vol pullback into the opening range too. Like we could view this as that low vol pullback setup. Stop loss at ORB midpoint, right, which is that red line. That would potentially be interesting. Be what, 758? Excuse me, 758. Apple came down to earth a little bit. But the main problem, excuse me, the main problem I have with this price action is it seems to be sticky. I don't think that makes it particularly easy to trade. I might just be happy with the green day. And I should always be happy with the green day, but maybe that's all I need. Not quite a Kayla day, but green nonetheless. I mean, I'll watch this for sure. So stop loss here would be the red line. It'd be set up like this. And then basically trying to watch the reaction right inside that zone here. Because we'd anticipate, I mean, that's a great bounce. We'd anticipate the opening range high, right, to act as support. That's effectively what it means. Would have been quick 200 bucks. Ugh. Still like 8 points away here. Watching. Right, reference price is here, 58. So again, looking for a pullback under that price, right? Under. Close. It'd be one contract, right? Be one contract. Oh, 59.25, 59.50. A chance here, maybe. Okay, let this candle close. Let this candle close. I'm going to get a quick little fake out lower and then look to jump in. Okay, so I'm in 750.25, 750.25. Stop loss, right? 737. That's just one contract. I didn't like how price action reacted on that first move above. Let's see if they can pop. Every time we're hitting 50-ish, we're selling off 2 points. It got close and then kind of sells off. Got close and then kind of sells off. There it goes. 52 and then back to 50. All right, better. There's a couple $100. Now let's see if this thing can keep building here, team. Let's see if this thing can keep building. It's good volume. So beautiful. So far, so good. How's everyone feeling? Who's in this with me? Anyone? Let's go, guys. Let's go. All right, so here, right, we're looking for it to hold above 760. Strong candle shape, increasing volume. I don't like that pullback. Come on. Come on. Okay, guys, I am out of this trade. I am out of this trade. Close price 754.75. 754.75. Didn't think that that was a strong enough reaction for me, right? Wasn't going to hold 60. Just wanted to get out and make sure that it didn't flush under my price. Okay, fine. Extra little $100 doesn't hurt. Kind of in good decision, right? Good decision. Whatchamacallit? It's kind of funny to be trading this late in the day, not be pyramiding into 60 contracts and like still being kind of chill. It's funny how that works. I mean, and this chill for me is a relative term. I don't know if I'm stoic Mike here today, but it was nice to play that low ball pull back technique. We don't do that too often. Maybe I could play this on the 3 here now. And it'd probably have to be something like this. Stop loss at the low of our confirmation. Or it'd have to be the low of that red candle. So like that 47 area. Trying to get my brain to spin a little bit here. All right, so 747 would be the stop. Be kind of looking at 1, maybe 2 contracts. Yeah, I'm interested in this. Well, the pullback price is here, yeah. So like 762.50, and then anywhere between that 65 and 62. Come on. Man, it's cruel how it sometimes will pull back to within like 2 ticks of your price, and then it just see ya. Okay, sweet. So I'm in 765 on the dot. Not a great entry. Just 1 contract. Stop is 747. And actually, sorry. It's 25. 765.25 as my entry price. All right, let's see if this thing can go. Gotta go quick. It's gotta go quick. A little part of me that's sitting here thinking, is this worth it? Incy bincy part of me. Hmm. I'm not convinced. Hmm. Okay. This has got to be its moment where it goes. If it doesn't, I'm going to get out. I'm kind of looking for an excuse to get out of this trade to a certain extent. Yeah, it's back to entry price. So here it goes. This is the moment. Okay. Push, 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 push. This feels so unenthusiastic. Oh, give me a little pop here. Just a little micro pop. You like can't hold above my entry price for long enough to get an exit and to cross the spread. Yeah, this might be it. Go, 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 go. All right, there it goes. All right, I've just closed again here, guys. I have just closed again at 774. 774. Another quick little scalp. How's everyone feeling, team? How's everyone feeling? Good day for everyone? Yeah. I'm not going to place any further trades here. I'm not going to place any further trades. Whoa, what a decision, guys. What a decision. What an exit. Holy smokes, what an exit. I don't know what that was. Oh, no, not saved by the bell. It was saved by your process, right? Saved by the bell. So I'll take that. A little bit over 500 bucks here on the day. 555.67. I'll take it. Crazy move, though, at the end there. Any questions here, team? Any questions? Nice work, Mike. That's huge, man. What am I looking for here? Oh, the pre-market conditions. There we go. So yeah, any questions here, team? Any questions? Nice little green day, no complaints. Yeah, you too, Mike. Fantastic work today, dude. That's epic. Yeah, fire away, Dan. What's up? Yeah, you will get one on your own and then we'll reimburse you, Dan. Anything else here, guys? Anything else? Well, what do you mean by analyze, Barton? What are you trying to get out of them? What is it that you're trying to figure out? Well, for me, it's just like the hammer should be, I don't know, twice as big as the body, right? It doesn't even need to be that complicated. It's kind of like the definition of porn. Like you kind of just know it when you see it. So what I mean by that, right, is like you want the arrow to be pointing in a direction, right? So you want the arrow to be pointing higher if it's a green hammer, right? I.e., the body or the bottom wick of the candle is larger than the body and larger than the top wick. Opposite, right? If you're going to the downside. If it isn't obvious, then it isn't one. Like this one here, I would probably call that more normal body bullish than a hammer, because the from the open to the high is about the same as the open to the low. So I would probably call that a normal body. I would call this one a hammer. I would call this one a hammer, this one a hammer, this one a hammer, this one even a hammer. Yeah, Eric. So I trade, momentum concepts, right? So I'm looking for high volume separations or high volume breakouts away from my setup triggers. And so I do rely on price action exclusively, pretty much for my strategy. I don't rely on RSI or anything along those lines. I will use Bollinger Bands every now and then. I've got a couple techniques based around those. And then, for me, like one of my biggest edges, or what I think my biggest edge is as a trader, is my ability to lose small and basically survive a bunch of knocks, right? I can get hit a couple times, get kicked in the mouth a couple times, and still be able to finish the day nicely green. So it really is just about, like stacking up your green trades. And then if I do get followed through, I can build up my position sizing and try to maximize my P&L. Like for example, we had a trade here today, right, where I was able to start with 2 contracts, built into 4 contracts, and then closed, for like a $1,500 win instead of like a $750 win. So effectively like doubled my P&L on that trade. So it really is a lot of that. Barton, if you're still watching, I was looking for some clarity, right, on what you were asking. The way that I would look at it here, right, is not what's the best way to analyze my trades. It should be what's the best way for you to analyze your trades, right? So if your question or your idea is to copy my trades, should be your job to study what you did and how similar was it to what I did, right? Where was the difference? that would be probably the starting point, right? You could use the live stream from the live stream link tab to be able to go back and watch all of those positions or all of those executions. That would give you plenty of information, right, to give you what you need. But that would be then the starting point. So I would prefer for you to be selfish about studying your trades and asking, okay, if I'm copying Michael's strategy, what did I do the same? What did I do better? What did I do worse? And figure out what that difference is primarily. And then, yeah, use the previous live streams, right, to go watch back what I did, or the setup alerts channel for like kind of a reference point of the executions. Anything else here, team? So entry technique wise, right, it's really basic, right? So let's say that this is a good example of a candle to use. Right, so this is obviously just a replay, right? So don't put too much stock into it. And we're going to pretend for now, I'm just going to draw, okay, brush, right? So we'll say price action started here. Until price action makes a lower low under my confirmation, I'm looking for the pullback entry technique, right? So on bearish examples, as long as we haven't made a lower low, I'm still using the pullback technique where my stop loss, right, would be the high of my confirmation candle. So my stop loss, right, would then be 776 or whatever it might be. So until we make a lower low, my stop loss or my entry technique is the pullback entry technique. Once we've exceeded the limits of the confirmation candle, that's when we go to switching to the aggressive. So then, right, let's say that price action goes like this, goes a little bit higher and then sells off. Now my stop loss, right, is on the high, right, of my entry candle if I'm bearish, and I'd be looking for a pullback into that green line. So has price action broken out from its confirmation candle? If the answer is no, then you're using the pullback technique. If the answer is yes, you're using the aggressive entry technique. There should be a video in the Start Here channel. It's going to be called when to use the pullback versus, when to use the pullback versus aggressive entry technique. Video number 6 in that resource. And so I would reference that if you're having any issues or concerns. But are we still inside the confirmation candle? i.e., are we still consolidating inside the confirmation candle? If yes, look for the pullback. If you've broken away from the confirmation candle, high or low, you're looking for the aggressive. Yeah, makes sense? All right, team, final call for questions here. Final call for questions. All right, sweet. Well, same deal like always, right? If you have any questions, hit me up outside of market hours. I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. But you know what? Today was a really positive trading day, and it was a really positive trading day because we traded the price action in front of us, not our P&L number. The more that we can trade the price action in front of us instead of just some number on a screen, the better things are going to go. So good start here. Let's keep stacking them up. And yeah, see you guys all tomorrow for what should be hopefully an interesting trading day. Oh, should mention this before I go. So apologies. Next little bit in the calendar is going to be a bit weird from a market perspective, right? So we have obviously contract roll happening on the 16th, and then markets are closed for Juneteenth on June 19th, which is a Thursday. I am likely going to take that Thursday, Friday off, and I don't know, go do something fun and exciting, instead of sitting and trading and then coming back to trade after like a random Thursday off. But that whole week in general might be a little bit weird, right? Just trading wise, like the Monday is going to be really hard to trade, which would be the 16th, and then the 17th and 18th, who the heck knows what's going to be happening those days. So maybe there'll be like a opportunity for us to use those 3 days, so 16th, 17th, 18th, to basically run like a live boot camp type thing. If there would be any demand for that, I would be interested in like maybe figuring out how to basically organize that so that we're not just like staring and watching on at the screens all day long. There would be like a cost of admission, right? Not a monetary one, but one where everyone comes with a question, right? Or a topic or something that we could discuss. Because truth be told, sometimes I don't know what you guys don't know, if that makes sense, right? So obviously this is my technique, this is my strategy, this is my concepts, and I've been using them for 13 years. So like sometimes I will see them in my alphabeti soup, right? Full body bullish candle, and I won't know, like it'll just be obvious, right? So, if there would be any interest in that, maybe we could split up each day into like a specific theme. So 1 day on strategy, 1 day on risk management, maybe 1 day on psychology, and build it out from there. So I don't have any like holiday plans here yet for the 19th and the 20th, but I'm thinking about it. Might be nice to get away for a little bit and do something fun. But I do think that week will be weird to trade. So figured I would drop that idea and see if there's any interest there. Seems like the feedback would be positive. So yeah, let me know if that's something you guys would be interested in. All right, anything else? All right, team. Well, same deal like always, right? If you have any questions, hit me up outside of market hours. I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. Otherwise, have yourselves a great day. Good trading day here today. And we will be back at it again. I was going to say Monday, but we're going to be back at it again here tomorrow, which is a Thursday. And talk to you then. Peace.